welcome to the BPD Brunch, where we get together with our favorite brunchy beverages to catch up, play games, and talk about all things BPD. I'm your host, Xannie, and today I am here with Katja, Melanie, Hak Ja and Carys. Where in the world is everyone coming from, and what is your brunchy beverage for the day?
So I'm joining from West Midlands, United Kingdom, and I have pink lemonade today as it is a very unusually hot and sunny day in the UK.
I'm from Ontario, Canada. My brunchy beverage this morning is Diet Mountain Dew.
Also from Ontario, Canada, and I have coffee.
I'm coming from New Jersey, United States, and I have a yogurt smoothie and watermelon juice.
I love your double fisting beverages every time. It's great. I am coming from New Mexico in the United States, and I've got coffee. So today's episode is every season we do this, and it's one of our staples. It's BPD Bingo! Woohoo! So the way that this game works is we have a bingo board. I put all of the what's written on the tiles in this bowl, and I'm going to shake it up, draw it out, and then we will, if you got it, you check it off your board. As soon as somebody gets bingo, the game is over. And as a disclaimer, this is not like a diagnostic tool. We don't have a monopoly over some of these behaviors. So if you do some of these things, it doesn't necessarily mean you have BPD. This is mostly just a fun way for us to talk about some of our stories, and hopefully you can relate. So without further ado, what is the first tile going to be? All right. It's just in all caps. Splitting! I feel like there's probably everybody here got that one.
Well, I was like, what? I was like, which example? What day? What hour? Like when?
Yeah, it's such an integral part of the BPD experience for me. It's like hard to pick a specific moment.
I feel like I still get the urge to split when uncomfortable disagreements happen because I battle shame. So being able to name that has taken the power out of it. Like, I still get the urge, but at that point it becomes more like urge surfing. So if I can get through that initial part of the urge by, like, I don't know, imagining like all kinds of like horrible reactions, like if I'm like doing and saying things and I just like imagine it and I get that emotion processed and without actually damaging the relationship. That's how I handle it now. But like I have way too many stories of it.
Yeah, same.
I like what you just brought up, Carys, because there's now versus before. For me, it's almost like what's about to happen. And sometimes I could even see the whole thing before it happens. And that's almost a progress where I can like literally go, wow. And so is it time that I need? Is it space? Sometimes it's literally me putting I wear a watch normally, a timer on, and going out of the situation, like pulling myself for dear life out of the situation. So yeah, so splitting, I don't know, that's like, for me personally, it's BPD 101 from where I was and now. So
I just recently have had this realization that the difference for me between whether or not I will split is whether something occurs while I am already in emotion mind or not. Like if I am not hanging out in emotion mind and I'm like my wise-minded higher self and I'm kind of embodying that space, then if something happens, like I feel criticized, I can take that and think about it, and I might still have my feelings hurt, but I don't immediately jump to the grr arg. But if I'm sitting there and I'm already in emotion mind, I'm in my feelings, and something happens, then it's like I have to rein it in. There's this big reaction and I have to be like, nope, I'm like, jump on it, hold it down. Nope, we're not gonna go there. Sometimes a little bit still slips out, but I used to live in emotion mind all the time and I didn't have that horse under control at all. So lots of positive changes. Next one. This new thing is my whole new identity.
Yeah.
Xannie knows this is like my whole thing. So, I think you chose this on purpose.
I didn't. It was just an accident.
I mean, I still don't have any idea who I am, so I just, I choose whatever thing that interests me, and I just kind of run with it. When I was like doing pole dancing, I was like, oh my god, yes, I'm a pole dancer. That's my whole thing. That's who I am now. I even got a tattoo of it on my leg. I don't even do it anymore. When I first started becoming like a gym person, I'd be like, wow, I'm like this strong person. I'm a gym person. That was my whole thing. Like, I'm an athlete. I would only do sports and like go out and exercise and like protein this, protein that, blah, 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 blah. I don't know that any of these things ever stuck. I just always, whatever I'm trying, I would definitely make my whole thing like, and with all my things, they always end. I don't know. So I'm still figuring that out.
It's funny, like I've been sitting here trying to think of a specific example, and one that stands out to me was I was living in Chicago, and there was a time where I was all about leopard print. And I was like, leopard print is my identity. And I got this like leopard print coat and I wore it everywhere. And like,
Love.
even when it was really way too warm to be wearing this stupid coat, I was like, but this is who I am. I can't take off this leopard print coat because then who even am I?
Mm-hmm.
I used to completely cast aside like a whole like identity and become a whole new thing, but I'm like 45. So like I've decided it's okay for me to keep a little bit of something. Like, what was it about rockabilly that I loved so much? Was it the style? Absolutely. And the music. Does that mean that I need to live entirely that way? No.
I'm going to lose bingo because I cannot cross this one up.
Well, let's move on to another tile. So hopefully you can, if you get this one, we'll see. The next one is the thought, everything is my fault. Oh, yep. This is one I still struggle with because I feel like this need to take obsessive ownership over everything that goes wrong in my life, because radically accepting that there's nothing I can do about something is one of my absolute least favorite things to do. So I like to convince myself that everything is my fault, because if I can just figure out what I did wrong and do it differently next time, then everything will be okay. If only it worked like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely about control. If I had to talk about it when I was like younger, I would say it was more like the self-directed like hate, because I just had a lot of, I guess, like traumatic things happen to me like almost every single year of my life, like growing up. So it was just like in my brain, it just kind of made sense, like everything is my fault because it's supposed to happen to me because I'm bad, and therefore bad things have to happen to me. But yeah, I think now it's more just like I need to have control over the situation. So I have to say everything's my fault and then like split on somebody to get them to listen to me and admit their fault, which is so bad. But that's where I'm at with that.
I love what you said, Hak Ja, because you brought up something I think about quite a lot, and I'm working on when it comes to my own self-compassion, because this constant rumination, I'm a terrible human, when I do something like even take a rest, right? I don't deserve to take a break. I shouldn't be taking a break. This shouldn't, right? These cognitive distortions, right? Why don't I deserve a break today? Why can't I say something nice about myself, right? Everything's my fault. Everything, even the word everything, this word, right? This language. How would you talk to your friend? How would you talk to your kid? What would you say to them? And then look at the difference of how you talk to yourself. Like what I would say to all of you guys with some of these situations is everything's my fault, but nothing's your fault. Nothing's your fault, Hak Ja. Nothing's your fault, Xannie, but it's all my fault. So I've really been working on the piece where it's not really my fault. I'm doing the best I can. So
I try to remind myself I'm not that special. I don't actually have that much control over other people. Like, I don't have magic powers. Which, now that I'm talking about magic powers, it makes me think, Katja, does this resonate with you in a different way with, like, having STPD? Because I know that you've had some pretty interesting thoughts of things that you could control.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with this one specifically, I was reflecting on when I was younger, and actually I did feel like everything was my fault. However, my way of dealing with it was to blame everyone else anyway. And I think I did that because I just felt a lot of shame and a lot of guilt over my actions and the repercussions of those actions. And I wasn't ready, or I was completely unwilling to take ownership of that because it made me feel uncomfortable. So even though I knew that I was at fault, I would quite often assign blame to everyone else anyway, even when people would say to me, you are quite clearly in the wrong, because it was really difficult for me to sit with that feeling. And as I've got older and I've worked on emotional intelligence, I feel like I found a balance to know when it is my fault and when it isn't. So I actually think, although I do feel like things are my fault, having those formative experiences of not taking ownership for my behaviour and the results of that have actually given me a much better perspective on it now.
Yeah. Next one! Da, la, 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 la. Moving to a new place will 100% solve all my problems.
Does it count if you haven't actually moved?
Yes, this is just having the thought.
I think I see this like at least twice a day. And every time I go to therapy, like I just tell her about my week and I'm like, ugh. And then she looks at me and I look at her. I'm like, I should just move. I should just move to like another country, change my name. I give up. Like, I'm over it. I don't know. I'm thinking that like I'm done with all these things happening, so I just want to like give up and start over. But I'm sure the same thing will happen because I'm still distorted in my thinking, and it's not going to do anything. But you know, it's a dream. It's a dream. I'll change my name. I'll move to like Idaho. I'll become a potato farmer. It'll be good.
wherever you go, there you are. And I had to realize this so many times because every time I went on vacation, I realized every time I was dysregulating, there the heck I was. I would be like in Hawaii having a BPD episode where there's like too many people. There's too many people, Steve. They're walking too close to me, Steve. These people, the walk sucks. I'm going back to the hotel. I'm eating the most perfect hamburger, but the man's on his phone, Steve, and it's sunset's coming down. I'm throwing my hamburger onto the beach. Fuck this. Oh, sorry. I can't deal with this hamburger. I throw the hamburger onto the beach. Then I go, Steve, I really wanted that hamburger. And he goes, well, pick the hamburger up. I'm brushing the hamburger off. I kid you not. Take a bite. I go, the hamburger sucks. Throw the hamburger back. So I kept going, if I don't learn the skills, I don't learn it's me. It's not where I am. But I had to learn that so many times because it's always going to be the next environment, the next place, because it's no matter where I go, dang it, my butt's there, my dysregulation's there, my body's there.
I can 100% relate to this as somebody who did actually up and leave and just go to a different country thinking everything was going to be amazing. It turns out that you are right. You cannot escape your problems by moving them to a different country. In fact, it exacerbated all of mine, and it was made incredibly difficult by the fact that there were cultural and linguistic barriers there as well, even though I spoke the language of that country. But I just thought, you know what? If I get on a plane and I go to a different country, I'm going to step off that plane and it'll be like a whole new life and it'll be completely different. And actually it really wasn't. It was made much harder, and it did go not really the way that I wanted it to, and I did end up coming home a lot earlier than I anticipated. Just a little warning tale.
Yeah, I have post-secondary credits that all went towards my degree. I think they're from maybe 5 different colleges and universities. I kind of had to be a number of things first before I knew what I was. So I think it was really helpful for me to be able to just like pick up and move and be a new person in a new spot, because I got to challenge myself and find out who I was, and like, you know, out of like my parents' place, out of my context of somebody else's lens of who I was, I could start to develop my own.
In a way, it's like moving to a different place won't solve all your problems, but it'll put a magnifying glass on the ones that are actually like your issues. You can differentiate what is your problem. So in a way, it can be positive, right?
Yeah, you can put a lens on it. Like, finally, you know what to focus on.
It's like, yes, you can then see what is actually yours and what is not your problem. We should move on, though.
Yeah, another topic.
Okay. Attaching to some random person who is nice to me.
So, like, what's random? Because, like, I need more clarification.
Well, I think this tile really means, like, being overly attached to somebody you don't really know that well, just because they were nice to you. Like, there's not enough actual background in your relationship to truly justify having a strong attachment to them, but because they were like polite or kind to you in an interaction, you have this like, oh, we are so close. Like, this guy was flirting with me and I interpreted that as, oh my gosh, he likes me so much, we're gonna have this whole relationship, and we slept together, and I never heard from him again, because the reason he was being nice to me was just because he wanted to sleep with me, and that was the whole story. I had built up this whole thing in my head that it was going to turn into something else. That did not happen.
Maybe that was for the best, considering the
Yes,
circumstance.
probably for the best. Yes.
Because I did the same thing, but he stayed, unfortunately.
And it didn't work out.
No, he was a strange man.
So earlier on in my recovery and my healing journey, that was more common, I would say. Like, everybody was my best friend. Like, I would say, like, I love everybody, but I would say now I'm more able to differentiate. This is somebody, in the word random, this is more somebody who's an acquaintance, somebody who's just being friendly and kind to me in this moment, with the skills that I've learned about people and boundaries and situations and context.
My mom says that my dad and I pick weirdos up in the grocery store. I think, like, I just become fast friends with everybody in line and all the things. But then I just, like, I don't become, like, attached over long term, but I just get, like, so much joy out of that interaction.
Carys, I couldn't relate more to you. My husband's like, do you talk to everyone that you meet and everywhere you go? I'm like, yes. I think that's a nice thing. Xannie's holding the ball. Go, grab it. Yep.
This is the best day ever. It will always be this way. Yep. I mean, this is just an example of like splitting in the positive direction, where it's just like you're having a good day and you think it's going to last forever. I definitely have had those moments. Now I don't think it's going to be like that forever, but I'm just like grateful for the good times, and I try to do that. But yeah, I've definitely used to have moments where it was like, oh, I'm cured, everything's great, like I'm never going to have a problem again as long as I live. And it's like, nope, that is not reality.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I enjoy it, and I think this is the best day ever, and I'm limiting it to this day, because tomorrow is probably going to be a whole heap of garbage. Like, I allow myself to be optimistic for this day, and then I'm like, no, I know how life is. It's not going to be like this forever.
Yeah, I'm more like that now. I have the gratitude for the moment. But in the past, it was like, because the moment was all that existed. It was like, this is the only feeling I've ever had and will ever have.
Fair.
I had a hard time seeing outside of that.
I think I'm more inclined to align with Carys's view, but for me, I do tend to find that my emotional intensity comes primarily from negative emotions rather than positive ones. So for me, I tend to feel like angry or sad quite intensely, but not really so much the positive ones. Like, I've never felt euphoric or anything like that. So for me, that's quite hard to relate to.
I think I can feel like that sense of like happiness and euphoria, like you said, but I I don't think I have any of these thoughts. I think my brain just goes, like, I don't really think, like, if I'm happy, I'm just happy. I'm like, wow, this is great. I don't think about tomorrow. I'm just glad that it's happening in that day.
I think it's more been in hindsight. I don't know if I've actively had these thoughts. It was more like an underlying belief. And I could tell that that's what it was, because when things went bad, or like, you know, the day turned or whatever, I would be so shocked that it was like, what? But I was having such a great day. What the hell happened? Like, why is it so bad now? And so it's more like in hindsight, I recognize that that was like an underlying, like, subconscious belief probably that I held. And now I both can live in the moment and outside of the moment at the same time, which I was not able to do before. So I can enjoy the moment and recognize that it's probably not going to stay that way forever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the next one is saying something you know you shouldn't and then instant regrets.
Ooh.
With this one, I was definitely like a more like openly extroverted person before, and I would say things out loud and I'd be like, oh, that's because, like, judging from people's reactions, like, oh, is that not socially acceptable to say? But that also could be because I'm not neurotypical. I still don't know, so I quietly observe and wait and hope to God I don't say something stupid. But I think also in arguments that happens quite a bit, where I'll say something, I'm like, oh wait, no, that's bad. Can we like undo that and, you know, let me try again. But it just kind of comes out, unfortunately.
I'm much better at it now, but I have an extremely vindictive streak, and definitely in an argument, I have like hit people below the belt, or like, you know, pointed out insecurities because I was feeling so hurt in the moment, and I had to like get even with them and make it fair so they were just as hurt as me, and then maybe we'd understand each other. But it just made the situation so much worse. And then I was like, dang it, now I have to sit in this pile of poop that I just made even bigger.
I used to spend an obscene amount of money on apology greeting cards. Anytime like I needed to make a good apology, now I recognize it's because I have a neurodivergent communication style, that a written apology is easier for me than an audible one, like a verbal one. So this, I would be able to like have the dopamine hit of like going to the card shop and like looking through all the pretty cards, and I would like pick one that made me smile and it was giggle and it was like cute. Like one was like the front of it was like, look at this pretty donkey. And then you open it up, it says, sorry, I was a nasty ass instead of a pretty donkey. And then it's like, you're like, oh, it's cute. And then like I got the opportunity to like think about what words I wanted to use to apologize for. So I think the process of doing that over and over, and like before I even took DBT, it was just part of my personality. I like wrote out a better thing that I could have done would have been this. Like, please accept my apology. Like, I hope like we can still be friends.
Yeah, I feel like when I was younger, I didn't really think too much about what I was going to say before I said it, whether that was in conflict with somebody or whether it was just like really awkward things that came out that didn't make sense or people found really weird. But I think now it's a lot easier for me to just switch off, because I find in situations if someone's trying to antagonize me, like that to me is, I think I want to say unattractive, but I don't know if that's the right word, but I just find it like it just flips the switch for me, and I'm like, I just cannot be bothered to engage with you at all. So I think if I can sense that there's any kind of provocation, it's very easy for me to just not want to communicate and just walk away, because I just can't be bothered. Like, I don't know if that's just my personality, but it just seems such a waste of my time and the other person's time as well.
So sorry, everybody. I have to go. Thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Bye, Mel.
Bye.
Bye, Melanie.
Bye.
Bye, Melanie.
Aha! Okay, success.
Everyone's faces are so much bigger now.
I know. I am beyond help. There was just a period of time where I just thought I was the worst, and that I was like, I had never heard of anybody who had as many hospitalizations or as many attempts on their own life as me. And so I just assumed that I was an incurable, unsolvable case, and no one was ever going to do anything to help me. And I was just going to die sad and alone.
I think that's also like just the thought that also triggers that reaction to, like, for me and any kind of like self-harm or episode, right? Like you think that, and then it's like boom, like then you instantly are like, well, what's the point?
I feel like I've never felt like that about myself, but when I have tried to access help and it's been really difficult because of not meeting thresholds or people not taking me seriously, the fact that I couldn't access the help that I needed made me feel like I'm beyond help, even though I didn't necessarily believe that myself.
Yeah, I think like Katja, that's relatable for sure.
Okay. Everyone leaves me. And that is Diagonal Bingo.
Nice. I had a screenshot of a t-shirt that said, I don't date anymore, I just foster until they find their forever homes.
Oh my god.
I had a screenshot of that t-shirt. I just kept it in my favorites folder in my phone just to remind myself so that I wouldn't be so crushed when it ended.
Yeah, I definitely used to struggle with this, but I don't anymore. It's weird. A few years ago, I had like 2 friends, and now I've got a lot of friends, and a lot of them are within the BPD community, which is great. And thank you to the 3 of you for being my friends. It's like, yeah, I definitely don't feel like everyone leaves me. I've got lots of friends, and it helps to have people who get it, you know?
Surrounding yourself with people who you have shared experiences and perspectives with really helps. Because the wrong people leave. So they needed to anyway. So scram!
I think this one's a little hard for me to articulate because like everyone does leave. So, and the people who didn't leave, I cut off because, like you said, they were not the right people. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still trying to find my people. I guess I am slowly building a group of 3 girls. Which is cool because I never really had female friends before like that. I was always like the one girl in the boy group playing video games.
Well, it's interesting you're talking about everyone does leave. And it's funny because in a way it's true.
Yeah.
Like every single relationship that you have is transient. Like whether because the relationship ends or somebody passes away, like there is an end date to every relationship you will ever have. And that can be really, really difficult to accept. But it also, I think, you know, knowing that we have only a certain number of moments to make it count is also what makes life beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. We hope you got a nugget of joy and wisdom to take with you on your journey. If you decided to play along, please post your completed bingo board on social media and tag us. We love to have everyone play bingo with us. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so that you do not miss anything. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.